Hi, I'm Laura. I'm a registered dietitian and certified specialist in oncology nutrition. Today we're going to make bite-sized banana oat muffins. This is a very easy recipe to make. Everything is just put in a blender, mixed up, and ready to go. So let's first run through the ingredients, and I hope you'll make these along with me, or at least see how easy they are and how good they look, and make them yourself. So we're going to have, it's banana oat muffins, so we've got bananas and oats. And we've got dates, and dates are what provide the sweetness along with the bananas in there. There's no refined sugar in this recipe. It's just all natural sweetness. So bananas, oats, and dates. We have a couple of eggs, 2 eggs, some cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and some baking soda. And then we're going to put some nuts on top. So that's it. So let's go ahead and start with putting our eggs in our blender. It's very nice that you don't have a bunch of bowls to clean up. And as you can see, I've got some very ripe bananas here. So 3 bananas. We're just going to put these in a blender. And one thing I like to do with bananas, if they get too ripe for me to just eat them on their own, is I'll peel them and stick them in the freezer. And then use those for smoothies. They're great in smoothies. They give a lot of sweetness, again, natural sweetness, as well as they make the smoothie very thick. So just put these in the blender. See, this one's very ripe. I don't like them to eat them on their own once they get super ripe. So they're perfect in something like this. And then we've got dates. Dates are often called nature's candy. They're very naturally sweet. And you want pitted dates, of course, for this recipe, and you want them to be a little sticky. These are from a fresh package, so they are sticky, but if they're not when you have them, just soak them in hot water for a minute or 2, drain it off, and that gives a little moisture back to them. So we want 12 dates. They're sticking together. So I mentioned dates are very naturally sweet, and I like to use them in baked goods, or again, you could put them in a smoothie and give, again, that natural sweetness, and also gives a lot of texture to it too. Or even just serve it as an appetizer, put a little almond in the middle of it, or a little piece of feta cheese or goat cheese, something like that, to kind of have that sweet, savory aspect. They're very high in potassium, and they're also high in soluble fiber. So our next ingredient is our oats, and I'm using old-fashioned oats here, 2 cups. And oats are also high in soluble fiber. Really, all 3 of our main ingredients, the bananas, the dates, and the oats, are high in soluble fiber. And the difference in fiber, they're soluble and insoluble. Soluble is the kind that absorbs water in our stomach and in our intestine. And by doing that, it helps slow down digestion. So it's good from the aspect of keeping us fuller longer. And then it can also, because it's absorbing water, it's also absorbing and binding to cholesterol, that bad cholesterol, LDL cholesterol. And that takes it through the GI tract and you excrete it. So it can help lower cholesterol levels. And it can also help keep glucose levels in check. By slowing down digestion, you don't get those glucose spikes or surges. And keeping those glucose levels even, along with the insulin levels in your body even, is one thing that research is showing helps keep inflammation in check. And that's one thing that they're finding a lot of links to inflammation and different chronic diseases, including cancer. So having good sources of soluble fiber in your diet is very important, and these little muffins are going to give us that. So we've got our bananas, our oats, our dates, and then we're going to add just a few other ingredients. A teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and just a pinch of salt. Then we're just going to put the top on and blend it up. So be prepared, it may be a little loud. And you may want to stop and scrape down the sides a little bit if it doesn't get all blended. It's almost all blended. And that's it. So now we're going to scoop this up into our little mini muffin tin that has been sprayed with nonstick cooking spray. And then I'm going to top with some chopped nuts. Now you could mix that in the batter if you like, just stir it in there at the end. I like to put it on top just for that little crunchy top. You could also use coconut, shredded coconut would be good, or some little mini chocolate chips would be good. And I like to toast the nuts just a little bit. It just helps bring out that nutty flavor in them. So I'm going to fill this up. And it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. I see a few small little pieces of dates, which is fine. Just gives a little sweet taste there. Done. And then topping with some nuts. I've got some walnuts here, but pecans would be good. As I mentioned, the shredded coconut would be good, or a combination of those. Or you can certainly leave them topless. But I love nuts. Very good for you. They're a good source of protein, and they also have some fiber, but as well as a healthy type of fat, monounsaturated fat. Now these are going to go into a 350-degree oven, and they take about 14 or 15 minutes to cook, just until they're done, but not very long. So I'm going to get these in the oven, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the completed little muffins. Our muffins are out of the oven and they smell so good. I love the smell of cinnamon. I'm just going to put them on this cooling rack for a minute or two. And again, these have no refined sugar. They're just naturally sweetened and high in that good for you soluble fiber. I made me another cup of coffee while those were in the oven, so I'm just going to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and enjoy a couple of bite-sized banana oat muffins. I hope you give these a try.